Leadership has changed. Fundamentally and forever, leadership has changed. Right now, leaders have to know more. We have to be more aware of how we're perceived, and we have to understand how certain external factors have shifted for the people who work with us. And that is not only our employees, but it's also our customers, it's our suppliers, it's our boards, it's all the people who surround us. Leadership has fundamentally changed. So let's start for just a few minutes with your vision, mission, and goals. Your vision, of course, is where it is you're going. It has to be compelling, exciting, and so mission-driven. And that's what it is you do and how that's exciting for you and your people, that it carries people along with your idea of where you need to go. That's your vision, where you're going. Now, your mission, fundamentally, during these times of great change, may not have shifted a lot, except that it has. Your mission is what it is you produce, the services you provide, and the people you serve. Now, what you actually do, say we produce hairbrushes, we provide a restaurant service, we deliver items, whatever that is, that may not have changed a whole lot, except people are expecting certain changes. They want to make sure that products delivered are clean. They want to make sure that spaces are clean. There's a fundamental shift in how we are being judged in our workplace. So that affects, of course, our goals and what that looks like to our people. So remember, when you're talking to your people about goals, the first thing people think of is, we can't do it. Our brain, our habenula, the part of our brain that governs our actions and behaviors, says immediately, we can't do that. It pushes back because guess what? That habenula has helped us stay alive for millennia. It does not like change. So as soon as you come out with a new change with your mission and your vision, there's going to be people in your organization who automatically think, we can't do that. It's not going to happen. It's kind of like when President Kennedy decided we're going to the moon. People said, we can't do that. Of course, we can't do that because we didn't know how. And we didn't know what those shifts meant. And this is where your strategy has to be compelling. Not only your strategy overall, but how that's conveyed and helping people see the possible. So when you think about goals, remember, some people are going to take what you perceive as speed bumps and make them into mountains. It's just going to be harder for some people to see the possible. Our job as leaders is to help people see the possible. So as we are migrating through these changes, just a few reminders for you as leaders. First, reignite people's sense of purpose in what it is we do, what we provide, and who we serve. People need to wake up every day with that sense of purpose. Number two, remember your job as the top of the leadership ladder is to inspire and influence others in order to make a positive difference in their lives. Now, this doesn't mean you shy away from making tough decisions. And certainly right now, we've had to reevaluate big issues such as especially our personnel. Are these the right people we've got in place to move the organization forward? This requires tough leadership, strong leadership, and decisive decision-making that means that some of those issues may not be terribly popular with some of our people, but our influence and our inspiration have to be solid for the entire team. Three, we have to assess the volatility level of how this is impacting our people. On a scale of 1 to 10, you can ask people, hey, how are you doing with everything that's going around you? With 1 being absolutely terrible and 10 being absolutely fantastic. This is a great opportunity. If somebody comes back and says, I'm a 2, you know that they're really struggling in a way that people who say, I'm an 8 or a 9 may not be struggling. And that alters your leadership in how you approach your people. Assess the volatility of not only the situation at hand, but the people who are impacted by all of the changes going on around them. Number 4, the opportunities. Yes, there are many people who are suffering badly during this time of change, challenge, transition, and crisis. Our job as leaders is to see the opportunity. According to the APA, the American Psychological Association, they define an optimist not as somebody who looks at everything and sees, oh, everything is wonderful and shiny and rosy and wonderful. No, they define an optimist as someone who looks at a tough situation and says, you know what? We can make that better. That's where leaders need to be. And part of making that better means seeing opportunities that other people don't necessarily see. It means being open-minded to a new external shock and saying, all right, how is that going to affect me now and in the future? How is that affecting our people? How is it affecting our customers, our suppliers, and other people who work with our organization? How does this affect our community? And then looking at it and saying, all right, how do we make this better? How do we help our people through this, but also make it better for everyone else? If we choose to see what's going on right now, this is a fantastic opportunity to become even better leaders, even better suppliers, even better partners in the community. And we as leaders don't have, as my friend Peter Stark says, leaders don't have the luxury of losing hope. We have to be those people who stay positive, who stay forward-minded, and who know what we have to do to go forward. And then, number 5, provide the right tools, technology, and training to help your people succeed. Now, some people just assume that their people knew what it is they're trying to do, knew where their leaders were going, and that they thought their people would just step up to the plate and do what they needed to do. Our job as leaders is to make sure they've got the tools, technology, and training. And this leads us into the sales and marketing, because our messaging has to be solid, it has to be on point, and we've got to continue moving forward and helping our people sell and market the amazing products we produce. Here's Mark Hunter to tell you more.
Thank you, Mary. Hey, I want to share with you a few ideas regarding sales. I'm Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. Of course, you know that. I wrote the book, A Mind for Sales. And one of the things we talk about in the book, A Mind for Sales, is the need for authenticity and transparency. And right now, more than ever, that is absolutely necessary, especially as we move deeper into the pandemic. Now, here's where I'm going. It can be very easy for salespeople to begin to get desperate. And what happens is they begin making claims, they begin making statements that they can't live up. They begin really selling the smoke, and they really don't sell the substance. And what happens is the customer becomes disenfranchised. Now, we're seeing this more and more. I'm seeing this a lot right now. And what we have to stress is authenticity and transparency. Let's kind of put this into terms that you can understand. It means we can't sell the gym membership. Don't sell the gym membership. Now, I'm nothing wrong with a gym membership. But what I'm saying is that too many salespeople get focused on selling the gym membership as if that's what's going to get the person in shape. It's not. The gym membership only allows you to go into the gym to work out. You still have to work out. What we need to be doing as salespeople is focusing on the outcome. Focus on the outcome. Now, this is absolutely imperative right now, and is very, very dicey, because it means we have to have focus and continuity much more so than we've ever had in the past. What do I mean by focus and continuity? Focus really is knowing who your ICP is. Sam's going to be talking a lot about this. This is the area that Sam's specialty is, in really understanding that specific customer you want to dial in on. But I can't stress this enough. It requires focus. And it also requires continuity. In other words, you can't sit there and send out one message and think that's enough. You can't even send out 2 messages. No, there's no expression, one and done. It doesn't work. Well, one and done right now is really dangerous, but that's, again, what a lot of salespeople are doing. They're desperate for sales, and they throw a lot of things out there. Well, that didn't work, and they keep chasing the shiny object. You want to have focus, and you want to have continuity. Now, what does focus and continuity mean in terms of really what is it that you're doing? Think of a bottle of shampoo. Yeah, you probably have heard me talk about this before, but I love this visual. If you pick up a bottle of shampoo, you're going to see 3 words on there: rinse and repeat. It does not mean rinse and move on. No, it means rinse and repeat. It doesn't say put the same shampoo back in your hair. No, it says rinse. You rinse out the... See, what you have to do is you have to make sure that you're coming in to your prospects, coming into your customers with new insights, new information. Focus on the outcome, not the gym membership. You see, here's one of the things that you have to understand. In order for us to really understand what the outcome is that the customer is looking for, we have to spend enough time with them. That's why we do focus and continuity. You're not going to understand what the real need is of the customer if you think one conversation is going to do it, or one email or one phone call. No, It takes time. But what you're going to do is you're going to wind up with a more valuable customer. You're going to wind up with a customer who stays with you. And more importantly, you're going to wind up with a customer who sees you as offering more value. Now, here's the other reason right now why this is so important. There's a tremendous amount of buying happening out there, tremendous amount. But customers are focused on their top 1, 2, or 3 priorities. That's it. See, things are changing so fast, so rapidly that really they're only buying if they have to. That means it's got to be in their 1, 2, or 3 priorities. And again, this is what you get when you zero in on focus and continuity. You're able to understand. And so the value you're able to create is just that. The value comes in and helps them achieve an outcome that's of one of their top 1, 2, or 3 priorities. You see, don't think for a moment that there's no opportunities out there. There's a tremendous number of opportunities out there. There's a lot of naysayers out there. You have to just put those people aside and get zero focused. Make your target list smaller than ever, but get more focused, and don't sell the gym membership, but sell the outcome. When you do, 2 things are going to happen. 1, you create more value for the customer, so the customer is going to be much more likely to pay full price. You see, what happens is if you're not focused on the outcome, you're not focused on their 1, 2, or 3 top priorities, the only thing you really have to sell is price, low price. And oh, by the way, the price is never going to be low enough for the customer. So you may get a sale, but it's not a sale you can take to the bank because there's no profit in it for you. Don't think for a moment that you can go into a volume plan right now. Do not think for a moment. It is about quality, not quantity, quality. And you get that by being focused and being, without a doubt, demonstrating continuity with every one of your messages. Hey, in just a moment, I'm going to turn this over to Sam, but I want you to think about this for a moment. Who's your perfect customer? What's the outcome you're creating? Not the gym membership, the outcome you're creating. What is the information that you can share with them? What is the model? What is the frequency? What is the cadence that you can create? You do those things, and I guarantee it, you will be successful because you're going to uncover their top 1, 2, or 3 priorities, and you're going to be able to deliver an outcome to that. Hey, Sam, why don't you go ahead and take it over from here, would you? Thanks.
Hey, thanks, Mark. I am so excited to be with everybody today. As Mark mentioned, my name is Sam Richter, and I travel the globe. Well, I guess I do it virtually now, sharing the concepts of sales intelligence. And what's sales intelligence? Well, at its core, sales intelligence is really all about understanding what's going on in our buyers, our prospects, our clients, our customers' world. What do they care about? And how do we align what they care about with our solutions? Because when we can align what they care about with our solutions, well, if you think about it, that's the only time a sale occurs. And my whole area of expertise as it relates to sales intelligence is using the internet, using the web to find that information before we contact that prospect, that buyer, that even existing client or customer. But you see, all of you have access to big data. What's going on in your customer's world? What do they care about? It's out there if we know how to find it. And that's really what I teach. So when we think about big data at its core, we're trying to answer the question, could our businesses be better with access to better information? So that brings us to the concept of sales triggers. What's a sales trigger? Well, a sales trigger is what's going on in the other person's world where they might actually be interested in hearing your message. And it's usually a disruption. So what's going on in that company where they might actually be interested in your solutions? Let me give you a basic example of a sales trigger. So let's say that I called you right now and I was from Sam's Roofing Company, and our call went something like this. Hi, my name is Sam from Sam's Roofing Company. I'd love to come out and give you a free estimate. Well, what are you going to do? Delete, go away, right? But what if a huge hailstorm hits your house and all of a sudden you look up and there's water leaking through the ceiling down your wall? 5 minutes later I call you. Hey, this is Sam from Sam's Roofing Company. I'd love to come out and give you a free estimate. Well, what am I now? Well, I'm your new best friend, right? That's a sales trigger. A disruption that's going on, oftentimes an unanticipated disruption that's going on, where your solution might be exactly what that prospect is looking for. And as we think about sales triggers for companies, well, again, what are some of those disruptions? Let's go through a few. One of my favorites is hiring a new executive. You see, anytime a new executive is hired, well, that usually is an opportunity to go in and share your ideas, your new solutions, because that executive probably doesn't have any legacy vendors. And by the way, that executive wants to show how smart he or she is, and so they're interested in learning about those new solutions. So how do we find these sales triggers? We use what's called Boolean logic, which is a complex mathematical algorithm that we enter into Google. And the neat thing about these sales triggers is oftentimes they are, for lack of a better term, findable online. So think about executives. When a company hires a new executive, what do they usually do? Well, they put out a press release, right? They will send out a newsletter. Something goes in maybe even the local newspaper. And so the key to finding sales triggers is knowing how to craft the correct Boolean queries into Google. What words would go into those queries? So I like to say, think like the author. If you were looking for a press release on a new executive, what words would you put in that press release, in that newsletter article? Let me show you an example. Words like welcomes, new chief executive, or new president. Plus Ohio, I'm looking for executives in Ohio. So I want you to see what I'm crafting here. I'm having the word welcome, so Google, every search result you deliver must have the word welcomes in it, must have the phrase new chief executive. The phrase because I'm putting it within quotation marks. When you put something within quotation marks, you're telling the search engine the words within quotation marks must appear in that exact order every single time. So the phrase new chief executive or in all uppercase. When you put an or in all uppercase in a search, a space before and after the or, you're telling Google give me this or give me that. So the phrase new chief executive or the phrase new president plus Ohio. I'm looking for these executives in Ohio. And I get some great results. But look at the dates. Really not that helpful. Hey, congratulations on getting the job 5 years ago. No, that's not a sales trigger. So what can you do? Well, on every Google search result, you're going to see this button. It's called the Tools button. Click on it. When you click on the Tools button, a drop-down menu appears that allows you to sort your results by date. Only show me results from the past year, the past month, the past day, the past hour. How about the past week? And in seconds, we've gone from a couple of million irrelevant results, irrelevant sales triggers, to the exact kind of information that we care about. That is the power of sales triggers. That's the power of knowing how to craft these Boolean queries online to find these disruptions, where you can go in and really sell your solutions based on what the other person cares about. So what are some other sales triggers that are causing disruptions at companies where they might be interested in a new solution? Let's take a look at a couple. Mergers or acquisitions. Think about it. Anytime that two companies are merging or one's acquiring another, what's going on with their vendor relationship? Google, go find me the phrase healthcare. Again, think like the author. What other words would you put in there? Merger or acquisition, or in all uppercase, announce or announces or completes. And we get some great results. This time we're going to sort by past month. We can pick up the phone, we can contact the executives at these companies, and again, they might be very open to our solutions, to our sales call. I'll give you another example. Anytime a company is receiving funding, that's a great sales trigger. Why? Because here's what I know for certain. If a company just received $500 million, do you think the investment banker went to that company's CEO and said, hey, here's a check for $500 million. I'd like you to put that into a conservative indexed mutual fund? No! They're saying, here's the $500 million. I want you to go out and spend it. So the only question is, are they going to be spending it with you? So let's look at that Boolean query. Internet of Things. What other words would you put in that press release or that article? VC or venture or capital. Raises or raised or receives, and we get some amazing results. Sort by past week. All of these companies might be primed for your solution. So that's just one idea of sales intelligence, sales triggers to help you grow your business. That's the type of content that you're going to find in the Business Leadership Vault. Hundreds of videos and workbooks, guidebooks to help us answer the question, will our business be better with access to better information? Hey, I'm going to turn it over to Meridith Elliott Powell, who's going to talk about how to succeed, how to thrive in this time of uncertainty using the techniques that you've learned today. Meridith, take it away.
Wow, you have gotten some great information up until now. You have learned all about strategy, everything that you need to do to find and land the best prospects and how to be relevant in today's marketplace. You've got enough right now to put an incredible strategy together, to put an incredible business plan in place. But I want to take things over the top. Because the one thing that we know about 2021, the one thing that we know about this coming year is that things are going to be uncertain. I mean, really, who knows what's going to happen? When will the vaccine take hold? When will businesses really be allowed to open back up? When will we be ready to get together in person? And when will you feel comfortable giving a stranger a hug? How are you supposed to implement and build a business in an environment like that? Well, get ready, because we're about to tell you how to get comfortable and how to really learn to turn uncertainty into your competitive advantage. It's hard to believe, but uncertainty really can be a competitive opportunity. And I know that because it's become my passion. It's become the work that I have researched and labored on to really discover businesses that have figured out how to do that. Now, let me tell you, there are not many, but in the work that I've been doing, I have uncovered 9 companies that have been in business since the early 1700s, early 1900s, and they are still in business, thriving today. So you know what that means? That means they have survived world wars. They have survived economic depression. And oh yeah, they have even survived a pandemic. And I wanted to know why. What were they doing that was so unique? And what were they doing that was so different? And what I discovered turned into my 9-step formula for thriving in uncertainty. Everything that you need to know to really position yourself to rather than fear uncertainty, you actually start to run towards uncertainty because you know it's going to be your greatest competitive advantage. All right. We don't have a lot of time in this video, so I want to go ahead and I want to dive in. Drum roll, please. Here we go for the 9 strategies. I'm going to have to give them to you fast, but hold on because you can get there. Now listen, before I dive in, and I know you are thinking, boy, I wish you would get on with it. You need to know that you need to do these strategies in order. It's incredibly important. They have a compounding effect, or they're like a stack of dominoes. They become stronger and faster when you work them in order. And you can't miss one, because missing one could mean your downfall. It could mean the very thing that keeps you from turning uncertainty to strategic advantage. All right, here we go. Number 1, if you want to thrive in uncertainty, then you have got to begin with a relentless vision. Not just a vision of hanging up on your wall, but a relentless vision, a real clarity and an understanding of where you're going to wind up when this crisis is over. What do you see for yourself in the future? And can you articulate it? And can you paint it? And most importantly, are you hyper focused on it? I don't mean that you read it once a week. I'm talking about, do you look at it 3 and 4 times a day? If I asked you to recite it right now, could you recite it? You've got to be relentless about your vision because what you focus on expands. And if you spend more time focusing on the obstacles, you're going to hit the obstacles. You need to spend more time focused on your relentless vision. Strategy number 2 is you've got to condition yourself for change. We're not going to ignore those obstacles. In fact, we're going to pay attention to them. But see, change can be your greatest opportunity if you see it coming. If you ignore it, I promise you, change will bury you. So you have to condition yourself for change. The more you think about change, the more you talk about change, the more you prepare for change, the better equipped you're going to be to turn uncertainty to your competitive advantage. Number 3, is you've got to stop thinking about competing and start thinking about collaborating. Listen, the problems we face in an uncertain marketplace, they're too big for one person, one team, or one industry to solve. You need to start thinking about who you can work with. And remember I told you these strategies work in order? Well, you just identified your biggest challenges, your biggest obstacles when you were thinking about the changes coming in the marketplace. And you need to start to think, who can I work with to solve those problems? And when you think about working with people, you need to think about people who share this next strategy with you, your core values. One of the toughest things in any marketplace is understanding how to make decisions. How do you make decisions when you don't know what is going to happen? Well, you do it according to your core values. When you know who you want to be in the middle of this crisis, who you want to be when this crisis is over, when you use your core values like a litmus test, like a North Star, and ask yourself, is the decision that we're making moving us closer to our core values or further away from our core values? When they align with your core values, you're going to come through this uncertainty beautifully. Now, believe it or not, you can make money in the middle of a crisis. And it has everything to do with what Sam told you about. You've got to secure your base. You've got to be relevant in today's marketplace. Start by really understanding the problems and challenges your existing customers have. Because what you sold before a crisis happened and what you sell after, they have to change. Why? Because your customers' challenges have changed. And you need to be relevant in order to grow a business. It's a myth in an uncertain marketplace that people aren't spending money. In fact, they are. But they're buying products and services and working with people who are relevant. You've also got to build your network. Really, there is no problem, no challenge, no issue you have that connecting with somebody couldn't solve. Think about this. At any moment in time, you are only one connection, one person, one conversation away from somebody who can help you solve any problem you have. And all you've got to do is network with them. All right. Strategy number 7, you've got to strengthen your team. There is so little that you can control in an uncertain environment, but one thing you can control is the quality of the people that you surround yourself with and the engagement level that they have. So work to strengthen your team. Understand who is your ideal employee and then hold people accountable to rise to that occasion. Number 8, you've got to shed fast and keep moving. What worked in the first quarter of this year won't work in the first quarter of next year. And you've got to objectively look at your business and ask yourself, what's working? What do we need to keep doing? What do I need to let go of? What is weighing me down? And what do I need that I don't have? And last but not least, you've got to rinse and repeat. This is a strategy that has to be done over and over again. This formula has to be implemented over and over again. All right. What are those 9 strategies? Relentless vision. Condition yourself for change. Competition becomes collaboration. Know your core values. Secure your base to be relevant. Build your network. Strengthen your team. Shed fast and keep moving. Rinse and repeat. You put those together, you're going to have everything that you need to turn all of this uncertainty to your competitive advantage.